Welcome back to another episode of Everything You Probably Didn't Know About Dawn of the Dead 1978. Now sit back as I take the most interesting behind-the-scenes movie facts and rapid-fire the knowledge to your brains. Filming at the Monroe Mall took place during the winter of 1977 through 78. Filming at the mall began around 10 p.m. shortly after the mall closed and finished at 6 a.m. Shooting at the mall was suspended over the Christmas season because it would have been too costly to remove and then later rehang all the seasonal decorations. The outdoor scene where hunters, emergency crew, and soldiers are shooting at zombies was done through local volunteers. Several local hunters arrived on scene with their own weapons. The local National Guard division showed up in full gear, and local emergency crew, police, fire, and ambulance were present, all voluntarily. The MPAA had threatened to impose the X rating if George A. Romero didn't make cuts. Romero did not want to cut the film and was adamant against the X rating. In the end, Romero was able to persuade his distributors to release the film with no rating, although on all advertising and trailers, there was a disclaimer that basically said that while there were no explicit sex in the film, the movie was of such a violent nature that no one under 17 would be admitted. Actress Gaylen Ross refused to scream during the film. She felt that Fran was a strong female character, and if she screamed, the strength would be lost. The voice of Christine Forrest, George A. Romero's wife, can be heard on a pre-recorded announcement in the mall. Attention all shoppers. The nun zombie that was trapped in a door was originally supposed to die, but Romero liked her and had her released from the door instead. Several members of the marauding band of bikers were played by members of the local chapter of the Pagans Motorcycle Club. The motorcycles they drove were their own. George A. Romero was initially hesitant to cast Scott H. Reiniger as Roger, despite the fact that he loved Reiniger's audition, as he had already cast Ken Foree as Peter and was worried about the height disparity between the two actors. Reiniger told Romero bluntly that after the first 15 minutes, no one in the audience would be paying attention to that detail. Some of the actors playing zombies in the movie would frequently get drunk at a late-night bar called the Brown Derby, which was in the Monroeville Mall. One night, they stole a golf cart and crashed into a marble pillar, causing $7,000 worth of damage. Much of the fighting done by Fran was at the behest of Gaylen Ross, who refused to play a character who would not fight the zombies on her own. Makeup artist Tom Savini and assistant and friend Tasso and Stavrakis are responsible for almost every stunt seen in the film, though not all were perfectly as planned. When filming a dive over the rail of the mall, Savini almost missed the pile of cardboard boxes, with his legs and back landing on the ground. He had to work from a golf cart for several days. The shot where Stavrakis swung down from a banner was poorly planned, and he wound up continuing on and slamming into the ceiling. Tom Savini chose the gray color for the zombie skin, since Night of the Living Dead 1968 was in black and white and the zombie skin tone was not depicted. He later said it was a mistake because many of them ended up looking quite blue on film. The two zombie children who attack Peter in the airport house are played by Donna Savini and Mike Savini, the real-life niece and nephew of Tom Savini. They are the only zombies in all of George A. Romero's Dead films that spontaneously run and never do the trademark zombie shuffle. Dario Argento was an admirer of George A. Romero's work, and vice versa. When Argento heard that Romero was contemplating a sequel to Night of the Living Dead 68, he insisted that Romero come out to Argento's native Rome to write the script without distractions. Romero knocked out the script in just 3 weeks, and, though Argento read the script as it came out, he left all of the writing to Romero. Argento also provided most of the film's soundtrack and, in return for the rights to edit the European version of the film, assisted in raising the necessary funds. Extras who appeared in this film were reportedly given $1 in cash, a donut, and a Dawn of the Dead t-shirt. The scene between Roger and Peter in the trucks when they are kidding each other about their height, as Scott H. Reiniger is 5'7" and Ken Foree is 6'5", was entirely improvised by the two actors. Many of the extras cast in the film, especially the zombies in close-up shots, were friends and relatives of the production crew. Tom Savini, then head of makeup effects, was unhappy with how the blood mix, produced by 3M, photographed. It looked fluorescent, however director George A. Romero felt it was perfect for the film's comic book style. The scenes between Stephen, Peter, Roger, and Fran in the helicopter were filmed with the helicopter never actually running or leaving the ground. A shell was painted blue for the day scenes and black for the night scenes, and then interspersed with real helicopter footage. Much of the fake blood used in the blood packets was a mixture of food coloring, peanut butter, and cane sugar syrup. This was the most profitable film in Romero's Dead series. The living quarters where the four heroes shacked up in wasn't actually located in the mall. It was a set built at George A. Romero's then production company, the Latin Image, located in Pittsburgh. The elevator shaft was located there as well. The weapons store featured in the film was never a part of the Monroeville Mall. George A. Romero shot those scenes in a gun shop in downtown Pittsburgh and then edited the footage to make it look like it was a shop inside the mall. Peter is the second person in the franchise to refer to the undead as zombies. The term is only used by a reporter on the radio once in Night of the Living Dead, 1968. Some of the cast were made physically sick by the makeup work. Director George A. Romero had already wanted to hire Tom Savini to do the special makeup effects for Night of the Living Dead, 1968, but Savini, who served as a combat photographer in the US Army, couldn't commit because he had to go on tour in Vietnam. Fortunately, he was available to do this film, and his recent Vietnam experience played an enormous part in his visualization of the graphic, gory effects, as he was basically just recreating what he'd seen in real life. It took up to 3 hours in makeup to transform someone into a zombie. Joe Pilato, who played Captain Rhodes in Day of the Dead, briefly appears as an unnamed police officer during the scene at the police dock. The idea for the film came about when George A. Romero was invited by his friend Mark Mason to a backstage tour of the recently completed Monroeville Mall. Mason noted to Romero that this would be the perfect place to hole up during an emergency, planting the seed with Romero for his next film. The split second before and after Woolley blows the head off the apartment resident was not meant to be a zombie. It was the head made by Tom Savini, made from a mold of Galen Ross's head for the original ending of the movie, where Peter commits suicide and Fran sticks her head in the blades of the helicopter. When they decided to change the ending, they then used it for a tenement building scene, so Savini made it look like an African American male, filled it with food scraps, and shot it with an actual shotgun. During the raid of the tenement building early on in the film, a zombie escapes from one of the apartments and is then embraced by his wife, whom he immediately attacks. When the actor bites the actress's arm to tear away the blood pack effect, he accidentally bit over the pack and actually caught part of her arm, causing a minor but painful injury. The scream that the woman lets out was partly authentic. Tom Savini had a crew of 8 who had to apply makeup effects to over 200 extras. And for those of you still trying to keep count, the total body count was 93, 17 humans, and 76 zombies. Well, that about wraps it up for another set of movie trivia. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoyed, and let me know if there is a movie you'd like to hear more movie facts about. And until then, keep watching that cinema and stay cool, guys.